everyone. Welcome to Developing for the Modern Sitecore with Horizon and SXA. We are super excited to have you join us today and talk more about this awesome topic.
So I'll start off. My name is Dylan Young. I'm a director of digital engineering here at RDA, or at RDA, I should say. I'm a four-time Sitecore technology MVP from 2018 to 2021, 7 years of Sitecore experience. And I really love solving technical challenges that involves technology and strategy. Jaina?
I am Dylan's counterpart and so excited to be presenting with him today. At RDA, I'm the Director of Digital Solutions and a Strategy MVP. And I have quite a bit of experience with Sitecore, and I've played a lot of roles from manager to architect to now strategist. My passion, though, is helping brands achieve their business objectives and strategies. And the combination of us today will show you how you can use SXA and Horizon to accomplish both technical needs and business strategies.
So today's agenda, we're going to do a quick recap of Horizon and SXA, showing how those tools work well together. Then we're going to jump into a demo. We're going to show what a custom component might look like with Horizon and SXA, and then also show what a landing page would look like with SXA and Horizon. Then we're going to talk a little bit about frameworks and editors, use cases. When does it make sense to use SXA when does it make sense to use different frameworks in different use cases? That's what we're going to look at. And then we're also going to compare the different tools that exist, Horizon, Experience Editor, and Content Editor, and talk about the advantages of each.
Awesome.
So Sitecore Experience Accelerator, SXA, has been around for quite a few years now. It's built to use your site, build your site or build components. It's got about 80 out-of-the-box renderings and rendering variances. It's also very useful for experience commerce. It accelerates development and delivery of your sites. It's a pretty easy to use interface for your content editor, so you can drag and drop components onto your page and kind of build custom pages from that. It allows you to kind of accelerate the creation of content while your developers are building the pages. And recently introduced was Scriven language, which is a kind of a scripting language to allow you to build your pages.
Thank you, Dylan. I am actually going to chat about Horizon, which is the new editor that Sitecore introduced in Sitecore 9.3. But the cool thing is that in Sitecore 10.1, which is the newest version of Sitecore, the Horizon and SXA have been combined together to create the interface that allows you to easily drag and drop SXA components and build your site, build your pages using Horizon. The cool part about this editor as compared to Experience Editor or Content Editor, Dylan and I, we were talking about, well, first of all, how fast it is, but it's great for non-technical users. It allows you, it's very simplistic. It doesn't have as many of the features that you would experience in an Experience Editor, but it allows your non-technical users, the ones that, just want to create their pages, edit their content, be able to do that in a very simple interface. It does allow you to navigate your content tree right from the interface, be able to see your page through different devices, and even look at page analytics and recommendations for your pages to continue to improve them. And the other cool part that we will talk about today is how you can expose your rendering parameters in Horizon to give your non-technical users some of that capability of styling that they can do right within the page itself. All right, so when we combine these two, Horizon and SXA, what's the ROI? Why create your pages, your sites with these two new components of Sitecore? So SXA, that's been around for a while, has quite a few case studies on it. Zurich Bank, BMI Group, L'Oreal, all of them tout that they've been able to reduce cost by economies of scale by creating their sites, their pages a lot faster using SXA. Well, Horizon, that's been around for a shorter period of time, doesn't have these great case studies yet, but you can just imagine that when you combine these two, you can get even higher economies of scale reduction. Because Horizon makes it super easy for content editors and marketers to create their pages from one interface without having to navigate in one and edit in the other, or view your page in context in the other. You can even analyze your pages, your content, and figure out what's working and what's not working from that same interface. So you can create pages, sites, even sections, your microsites within minutes using the combination of these two tools. All right, with that, I'll hand it back to you, Dylan.
Thank you. So let's take a look at what it might look like to build a component built for SXA that also works with Horizon. All right, I will now demo a custom built component and quickly walk through the code. So I am using Lighthouse for my demo. So I'm gonna log in. And I'm gonna hop over to the Horizon, and then I will edit a page. And so the custom component that I built, we can insert into the page. Circle rating, we will drop down here. And now we will create a custom data source for this. And there is our custom component. So it's basically a rating component. And so it has two fields. You can edit the label by clicking this box, and then you can edit it just like you would in the experience editor. And then you can edit the percentage number by going to edit content item. And then you can change the number to a different number. It is saved. So let's go back, 23%. And we even can change some rendering parameters. There is a show percentage. We can click that and then reload the page. So a pretty simple component. So now let's look at the code. The code for this is a simple SXA component. That's really developing for Horizon is no different than developing an SXA component for the experience editor. So I created a controller. The only difference from a .NET MVC controller is that we've specified a standard controller base class. But other than that, we call a repository method where we get the model, which is here. And basically we fill base properties, and then we fill in, we get the data source item, and then we fill its model, the model's properties. And then we also handle the rendering parameter that we specified. To jump over to the view, we basically then just take the model that we've passed from the repository to the controller to then the view. We then spit out those values. That extra label that was up on the top left, that is just a Sitecore field that we show in when the SXA is in edit mode. All right, that concludes the demo. All right, I'm going to pass it off to Jaina to cover the next section.
Thank you, Dylan. That was a great view of building a component using SXA and Horizon. And now I'm going to show you how to create a page using default SXA components and be able to use all those great things that Dylan showed you within Horizon to quickly create and expose and create pages from the stuff that Dylan just exposed to the editors. I am going to be showing you how to create Sitecore Horizon page that looks similar to this using just Horizon and the components available to you in Horizon. Okay. So here's our fairly basic page that I have so far, and I've created some of the elements already on this page, but I'm going to show you how you can quickly create that speaker section that I had on that main page there. First, I'm going to put in a splitter, a column splitter. So in Horizon, you have these splitters. I'm just going to put one of these here into my main section. And Horizon is really quick in how it does things. So now I have these two columns where I can add Dylan and me as our two speakers. So for that, I am going to have two promo components inside the splitters. So the first one, I'm going to add Dylan as my speaker. And in the second one, I'm going to add Jaina as the speaker. All right, here we go. And you can see here, you know, this area is kind of showing on the left here. I don't love that. I want it to be in the center. So I'm going to go right in here, and with these rendering parameters, you can do a lot of things like, for example, center these right on cue. And because Horizon saves as you're editing, all of this is auto-saved, so I don't have to worry about saving. It really does spoil you a bit. I could even change different things on it. Like, I wonder, what if I did it like this, a promo hero right in the middle? Well, I don't love that. All right, I'll keep it the way it is. Something as simple as just changing your body CSS class now can have a real impact. Like, I want it to be beautiful blue color that I have over here with the white content on the bottom. So I'm going to go back in here and just go into my page fields right here, and I want the dark blue view. So that's the class that I'm going to call and as long as you have those classes defined in your CSS, those should pull through and change up your page and make it look, you know, what you expect it to be. It makes it the blue color and just makes it look the way we want it to pretty easily. So this is how easy it is to quickly define a page and create your components. And if I wanted to, I could very easily add Dylan's circle component in here, potentially to show skills of our speakers. And like Dylan showed you, be able to manipulate those areas to get more details around our speakers. Okay, back to you, Dylan.
So let's look at the different options or frameworks that you might have when building a site with Sitecore. You have really kind of three pillars. You have SXA, you have custom development, usually with .NET MVC, and then you have headless, which is either JS frameworks or with .NET Core in more recent versions. So SXA, what's great about it is just the speed at which you can kind of get started building your website. So not to go through each of those bullet points, but basically the sum of it is that you know, you start out with components already built. You already have about 80 plus out of the box components. You can kind of get started a lot quicker from that. Content editors can start editing content, you know, quicker with those with using SXA. Content editors are not usually not so technical, so there's a lot of the components are built with best practices, so that they don't necessarily have to worry about, you know, anything technical to build pages out with SXA. Like I said, Sitecore SXA is built to kind of support multi-site, obviously following best practices by doing so. Typically, you'll find that about 80% of your site can be built with out-of-the-box SXA components. So about 20% will be, you know, the custom-built components. With a custom Helix, you're going to take a lot of investment to you know, build out each of the components. In a lot of cases, you're going to actually be building out components that are already present in SXA. So, and they're not necessarily going to follow best practice. You know, it's up to your development teams if they're going to follow best practice or not. They might not be multi-site capable, things like that. And then headless is an approach, you know, that can use SXA, but it's also you know, more driven by front end development, not necessarily if you're using .NET Core, but it's also an option that you might you know, be looking at if you're choosing frameworks.
Great. In terms of editors, Sitecore offers three main editors. Content Editor and Experience Editor have been around for a long time. In fact, Experience Editor way back in the day used to be called Page Editor. But Horizon, of course, is the new editor that we've shown you and talked about today. Horizon is, again, best for your non-technical content editors that may not have a ton of Sitecore experience. So if you're bringing on new people onto the team and their job isn't to figure out Sitecore, then this is a great editor to just start them out with. It could be frustrating for those who have been doing Sitecore for a while because, again, you don't have all the features and functionalities that are present in Experience Editor or Content Editor. It works well with SXA, like we've shown you today, and it's perfect when SXA is also your selected framework. It's not great if you're doing any personalization or A/B testing because that functionality doesn't exist in Horizon today. And then you do need to make sure that all your components and pages are pre-tested within Horizon, within the simulators before release, because things just don't work. You have to make sure that it works in that editor. Content Editor is great for those things that you don't have to worry about the interface so much, like content items, for example, or backend fields. It's great for more technical audiences. It gives you almost everything you need right there, but it takes a little bit of figuring out where to find what you need to find. So for those who have worked in Sitecore for a long time, have worked with Content Editor, it's a no-brainer to use. And it's great for repetitive tasks because you have all the different actions in there, such as find and replace, applying profile cards, etc. And in a development environment, of course, Content Editor still makes the most sense because it gives you everything you need in one interface. Experience Editor, again, that's been around with Sitecore for a long time and maybe one day will be replaced by Horizon completely. But today, it still makes sense to use when personalization and experimentation are in place and are part of your culture because because today Experience Editor is one of the only places where you can really try out things and see them in real time and be able to personalize and experiment with your page and get those results and then continue to integrate and change your page as needed. If your components and pages have already been tested for Experience Editor and you don't want to invest the time of testing everything with Horizon, then of course Experience Editor still makes sense. It works well with any of the frameworks we've talked about before. And those who are, the content editors that already know how to use Content Editor and Experience Editor correctly, it just makes sense to continue using rather than take away features and add that frustration. And then it obviously allows in-context editing just like Horizon, but has more control than Horizon with the different elements of your page. All right, that brings us to the end of our topic today. Dylan, on to you.
Yeah, so we included some reading material. As you want to start exploring Horizon and SXA together, these are some great links that you can start doing that.
So finally, a few takeaways if you leave with nothing else. So Sitecore and Horizon, SXA and Horizon together can really accelerate your website, microsite, page creation. So definitely something to check out if acceleration, speed to market is really important to you and your business. You are able to create these custom components like Dylan showed you, exposing the components to all of the functionality that Horizon has in play. With Horizon and SXA, you're able to create pages pretty quickly, but not just create them, you're able to analyze and optimize your pages and content. And hopefully we've given you all the tools to know when to use Horizon and SXA and when they are right for you. All right, well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Here is once again Dylan and my contact information if you'd like to get in touch with us.
Thank you.
Bye.